In this video, we're discussing common things narcissistic parents blame the scapegoat for. From subtle blame that chips away at you over time to extreme blame that attacks your right to even exist. These are the things you were blamed for as a child that you're still blaming yourself for today. Hi, I'm Jerry Wise, and for over 45 years, I've helped hundreds of thousands of people heal and get their family out of them by practicing self-differentiation. The process of becoming your true self and releasing the false self you were trained to be in your family of origin, so you can finally experience clarity, peace, and lasting freedom. Well, let's start with a few of the subtle blames that occur and are aimed at the scapegoat. The kind that seems small but adds up over time and become chronic nuisances and wear away at you. Number one, your narcissistic parent blamed you for your emotions. As the scapegoat, your narcissistic parent treated your emotions like a problem to fix and a disruption to manage. Crying meant you were too sensitive. Anger meant you were just out of control. You learned that having feelings made you a burden. So you started hiding them, stuffing them down, and feeling ashamed for having them at all. In adulthood, when strong emotions come up, you don't just feel them, you judge yourself for feeling them. You tell yourself you're overreacting and apologize for being upset. You minimize your own pain before anyone else can. The blame your narcissistic parent put on your emotions became the voice inside your head. You don't need them around anymore to feel ashamed of what you feel. You do it all to yourself automatically now. Number two, your narcissistic parent blamed you for having needs. As the scapegoat, your narcissistic parent made you feel like your needs were an inconvenience. Asking for help meant you were too needy. Wanting attention meant you were just being selfish or showing off. Needing comfort meant you were just weak. In healthy families, children's needs are met with care. But in your family, you learned that having needs and having needs at all made you a problem. When you need something as an adult, you hesitate to ask. You convince yourself that you don't really need it. You take care of everyone else's needs while ignoring your own, then feel resentful but don't know why. This is what I call loaning self, pouring yourself out for others without ever getting replenished. It's the dynamic that so many who are codependent experience. They simply loan themselves out so other people can have a self, but they haven't found a self for themselves. You're still operating from the blame your narcissistic parents put on you for simply having human needs. Number three, your narcissistic parent blamed you for the family's mood. As the scapegoat in your narcissistic family, you were held responsible for everyone's emotional state. If your narcissistic parent was angry, it was because of something you did. If the family felt tense, you were the reason. You became the emotional thermostat, constantly scanning and adjusting, trying to keep everyone calm. You lost your childhood to managing the family's mood. In your adult life, this pattern still runs deep. You walk into a room and immediately sense the emotional temperature. If someone is upset, your body tenses. You assume it's your fault. You over-explain, over-apologize, exhausting yourself trying to fix moods that aren't yours to fix. You give emotional labor to everyone around you, but you never learn to give that same care to yourself. Number four, your narcissistic parent blamed you for noticing problems. As the scapegoat in your narcissistic family, you were blamed not for creating problems, but for noticing them. When you pointed out something was wrong, your narcissistic parent turned to you and made you into the problem. Why do you always have to bring things up? You're the only one who has an issue. You learned that sensing dysfunction clearly made you the difficult one, so you started doubting what you saw. Here's how this plays out in your adult life today. You notice red flags in relationships, but talk yourself out of them. You see problems at work, but stay quiet. You sense something is off, but convince yourself you're imagining it. This is self-gaslighting, and it started when your narcissistic parent blamed you for noticing what was actually happening. You had eyes and ears that actually worked, and you were punished for using them. Number 5, your narcissistic parent blamed you for setting boundaries. As the scapegoat, any attempt to set a boundary with your narcissistic parent was treated as an attack. Saying no meant you were disrespectful. Asking for space meant you were abandoning the family or being selfish. Protecting yourself meant you were definitely selfish. You learned that boundaries meant betrayal. What happens in your adult life when you try to set a limit? Your body floods with guilt and fear. You say yes when you mean no. You over-explain yourself, apologize for having limits, and then back down completely. The guilt isn't real guilt. It's called systems guilt. Conditioned response you were trained to feel on cue. Your narcissistic parent blamed you so effectively for setting boundaries that now you blame yourself before you even try. Next, let's look at transferred blames. When your narcissistic parent made their problems your fault. Number 6, your narcissistic parent blamed you for their feelings. As a scapegoat, your narcissistic parent didn't take responsibility for their own emotions. They made them your fault. If they were angry, you caused it. If they were sad, you did something wrong. If they were stressed, you were the source. You were trained to believe that their emotional state was your responsibility to manage and your failure when it went wrong. Look at your relationships in adulthood. When someone you care about is upset, you automatically assume you did something wrong. You scramble to fix it and make it better. Even when their feelings have nothing to do with you, you're still carrying the weight of your narcissistic parent and the weight they transferred onto you. Their feelings were never your fault, but you're still living like they are. Number 7, your narcissistic parent blamed you for their actions. As a scapegoat, when your narcissistic parent acted badly, they blamed you for it. Look what you made me do. If you weren't so difficult, I wouldn't have to act this way. Their actions became your fault also. You internalized the message that other people's actions were somehow caused by you. In your adult life, this shows up everywhere. When someone treats you poorly, part of you wonders what you did to deserve it. When relationships go wrong, you search for what you could have done differently, even when the other person was clearly in the wrong. You've been trained to hold yourself responsible for things that were never yours to carry. Number 8, your narcissistic parent blamed you for their sacrifices. As the scapegoat, your narcissistic parent made sure you knew everything they gave up for you. I sacrificed my career for you. I could have had a life if it wasn't for you. After everything I've done, this is how you repay me? Every sacrifice became a debt you could never repay and a weapon used to control you through guilt. As an adult, you feel like you owe people for caring about you. You stay in relationships longer than you should have because someone invested in you. You feel guilty for receiving anything, help, love, attention, a card, a call, because it always came with strings attached in your family. Healthy love doesn't keep score. It doesn't blame you for existing. Number 9, your narcissistic parent blamed you for other family members' problems. As a scapegoat in your narcissistic family, everyone's problems became your fault. If your sibling struggled, it was because you upset them. If the other parent was stressed, it was your fault. Your narcissistic parent used triangulation to make you the cause of every problem in the family, even problems that had absolutely nothing to do with you. Today, you feel responsible for other people's struggles. When a friend is having a hard time, you wonder if it's somehow your fault. When family members fight, You feel like you should have prevented it. You carry guilt for things that were never yours because your narcissistic parent trained you to be the family's dumping ground for blame. Number 10, your narcissistic parent blamed you for ruining special occasions. As a scapegoat, holidays, birthdays, and family gatherings became events your narcissistic parent blamed you for ruining. This was supposed to be a good day until you showed up or until you did that. You always ruin everything. Why do you always upset your mother when we get together? Even when you did nothing wrong, you became the target for any tension or disappointment. You learned to dread events that should have been celebrations. Even to the smallest little degree of dessert is being served and mom or whoever has made the dessert and you're given a piece and you say, no, you'd rather not because that's probably more than what you should eat. You're spoiling dessert. Well, maybe you're diabetic and it's not good if you eat that dessert. Now, as an adult, special occasions fill you with anxiety. You brace yourself for something to go wrong. You overfunction to make sure everything is perfect. Because if it isn't, some part of you still believes it will be your fault. The joy was stolen from these moments long ago, and you're still waiting for the blame that always came. Finally, let me talk about the extreme blames. When your narcissistic parent attacked your very right to exist. Your narcissistic parent blamed you for the family falling apart. As the family scapegoat, your narcissistic parent positioned you as the reason the family was broken. Whether it be divorce, and divorce is your fault, estrangement, that's your fault, sibling suicide is your fault, parents' alcoholism is your fault. Because of you, the dysfunction that existed long before you could even understand, it was placed squarely on your shoulders. You were a child carrying the weight of a broken system. In your adult life, you believe you're the one who destroys things. Relationships end and you assume, you probably messed it up. Groups fall apart and you blame yourself. You carry a deep fear that you're fundamentally destructive. But that's a lie. Your narcissistic family needed you to believe. The dysfunction existed long before you. They just needed someone to blame. Number 12, your narcissistic parent blamed you for their abuse. As a scapegoat, perhaps the cruelest blame you faced was your narcissistic parent blamed you for how they treated you. If you weren't so difficult, I wouldn't have had to act that way. You just brought this on yourself. You were taught that the abuse wasn't their fault. It was yours. That you somehow deserved it. This is the blame that cuts deepest. As an adult, you struggle to name what happened as abuse because some part of you still believes you may have caused it. You minimize your pain and make excuses for people who hurt you. The truth is, no child causes abuse. No behavior justifies abuse. The blame your narcissistic parent put on you for their own cruelty was their final act of control or their act of being out of control. Number 13, your narcissistic parent blamed you for ruining their life. As the scapegoat, your narcissistic parent made it clear their unhappiness was because of you. My whole life went downhill because of you. I was happy before you came along. You were just my cross to bear given to me by God when you came along. Every failure, every disappointment, every wrong turn in their life, all of it traced back to you. Your existence became the explanation for their failures. This kind of blame becomes part of your identity. As an adult, you carry a deep, unspoken belief that you ruin things just by being associated with anyone. It is you who is the bad influence, that your presence is a burden. This is the shame your narcissistic parent transferred onto you. And it was never true. Their life was their responsibility, not yours. I love the responsibility for, I know you were abused growing up, but I had to stay with your father who was very abusive because I didn't have any choice and that you kids needed a father in their life. Again, those kinds of things, they had to stay in the marriage. I understand marriages with abuse are very complicated and there are lots of issues involved. But again, I don't want to blame the children for the choices that I made as a parent. Number 14, your narcissistic parent blamed you for existing. As the scapegoat, the most extreme blame you faced was the blame for simply being alive. I never wanted you. Things would have been better if you weren't here. Your narcissistic parent blamed you for even existing, for taking up space, for needing care, for being born. In healthy families, children are welcomed. In your family, you were treated as a burden from the start. This blame goes to your core. You move through life feeling like you have to justify your existence. You apologize for taking up space and shrink yourself in rooms that you find yourself. But here's the truth. You were never the problem. You were a child who deserved to be wanted, welcomed, and loved. You've been carrying blame that belonged to them your entire life. If you're ready to finally break free and start living with clarity, peace, and a grounded connection to your true self, then join my Road to Self program. I guarantee the small amount of money I get will not even come close to what you will gain from the program. Many who have joined say it was the missing piece in their healing journey, the step that finally helped them get their family out of them and start strong as their true self. If you're not sure you're ready for the Road to Self program, no problem. Start with the free 84-minute self-differentiation training. Over 30,000 people have joined the free training as their first step. It's called Finding the Self or Becoming the Self You Were Never Allowed to Have. Click the links in the description to get started. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day and be wise.